And that is the hero's journey that each one of you, if you are an aspiring pilot, you will be living. And make sure that you are the hero of that story, because you only become a hero when you What's up? Welcome back to India's #1 pilot podcast. We are happy to see you again. Once again, this is episode number 75. 75 hours of, more than 75 to be honest, hours of discussions related to aviation, pilot training, and different intricacies of pilot's life. So before we started this, we were just viewing the episode number 1, and that was three and a half years ago. And we were like, okay, I and Chintan were sharing one mic in that episode.
Yeah.
And now we are here, 75 hours of 80 hours of pilot podcast later, 3 years later. Some subscribers, some viewers, and above all, many students that got some value from this. Many students, many aspiring pilots. I stand corrected, aspiring pilots rather than students. We're professionals, right? So yeah, we're not students. We are in some part of our pilot career journey somewhere. That is what it is. So we thank you for your support until now, and really appreciate your support to this channel. Really appreciate your viewership, and above all, once again, your attention.
Yeah, when we started this podcast back in March of 2022,
Yes.
at that stage, I and Nilay, we both just have got our CPL, and now we are in the 75th episode. So by this time, I am almost done with 1,000 hours on the Airbus 320, and Nilay is done with approximately 500 hours on the 320.
800.
800.
Nice.
That's quick. Yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty quick. And I assume that the aspiring pilots who were watching pilot podcast back then, they might have got their CPL now, maybe got their type rating, maybe got into the airline as well and started their supernumerary flights and stuff.
Absolutely.
So the journey has been long, and with that journey, like, we have evolved from one mic. Now we have a mic separately
so
for
in
each
80
other.
episodes, we just have added one mic,
One
right?
mic, yeah. The slide as well.
Just
So
kidding.
yeah. So the people who started watching this podcast, so some or the other way, got insights about aviation, which helped them to shorten their journey to the cockpit. And we have been doing this since the start of episode 1 of Pilot Podcast.
Correct.
And we love doing it because we see the results that the aspiring pilots are getting benefited out of it.
Absolutely.
And we continue to do that in the coming years.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. So this is episode 75th, and this is an amazing moment when I feel really connected to students, to first officers, to captains. When we started off this, as we were just watching the episode number 1, and that time back in 2022, when we just started off with this, with the intention that we would give the real insight of the aviation industry and pilot training to aspiring pilots like you. And that would give you some idea and some insight to make informed decision for yourself to kickstart the journey of pilot training. And now when I meet my students, some of them have who enrolled with us at CNTAA, and then they completed their pilot training. They got their CPL, got their type rating, and now flying in airlines. When I see them in a uniform, maybe at the airline dispatch, or maybe I end up flying with them, or on a layover, sometime I end up bumping into them, and it feels so good that, the information and the help and support that we have imparted has really helped them to reach and achieve their goals. to become an airline pilot, and this is what we take pride in, and we are really really happy to share, and we would continue to do that
Yeah.
going forward.
One of the CNTAA students, he started following Pilot podcast in 2000. Probably he was in what, eighth
Eighth
standard?
standard, yeah.
So
Yeah.
he finished his eighth, and then he was getting into his ninth. And then he contacted us. Then he started preparation for DGCA during his 12th. And all that happened. Eventually, he cleared, absolutely he cleared in the first attempt. Then he wanted to do the cadet pilot program. So at this point, as we speak, he is in the US doing his cadet pilot program right now. So someone we connected on the podcast, and eventually we connected with respect to CNTA, and then now he is in the, not exactly airline, but in airline with LOI. So that is it, and those are very fulfilling stories for us to know anything like that, and it's all because of your support to this channel. It's, see, the numbers are we like those numbers. Whatever are, we have what, 17,000, 18,000 subscribers.
14,000.
14,000. Okay, so we have 14,000 subscribers, and probably soon 15,000. On CNTA, we have many more subscribers. It's 100,000 plus subscribers.
125k
Yeah,
plus.
100,000
Oh,
plus
nice.
subscribers.
Yes.
But it's more than just the numbers. It's about each one of you. It's about the stories that we share that may resonate with you, and that might end up helping you. That is the whole goal of this. And since the beginning, the message has been very clear. This is not to tell you whether you should or should not become a pilot. If you decide to become a pilot, then what we talk here is relevant to you, because the decision has to be made by you, your parents, and collective decision between you and your parents. And once you make that decision, then yes, we help you here with respect to the path that is before you.
Yes, and as we see that Indian aviation is growing, most of the people who aspire to become a pilot are from non-aviation background. So earlier, how it used to be is, if the father or mother is a pilot, their child starts their aviation journey, and they have good knowledge about where to start and stuff.
Correct.
So, for example, my father doesn't have any background in aviation, so I was someone who started my journey all by myself, and I had to research a lot because the amount spent on the flight training is huge, and so any wrong step we take will incur additional cost to us, and that's why we need guidance for pilot training.
Correct.
And it becomes very important, especially for someone who is from non-aviation background,
Absolutely.
because in the past there have been a couple of students who reached out to me regarding an academy which was in South India. So the person who was running the academy was claiming that he was a pilot in Emirates for 14 years, and then he came back to India, and then he is training everyone to become a pilot, and he gives a job guarantee, and he says the starting salary was around 10 lakh rupees and stuff. Yeah. And this is for real. I mean, that student reached out to me and he's saying, okay, I'm getting 10 lakh rupees and I'll just enroll for the course. Like, what's going to happen? So as the aspiring pilot was from a non-aviation background, he was being misguided because whatever the intention the person had to make money or something. So if I were in his place and I didn't have any guidance, I would have also enrolled, because who doesn't like a salary of 10 lakh rupees a month to start with?
Correct.
Okay. So that was the guidance. So I just told him that, okay, this is how you start. No one makes 10 lakhs a month in their first year. It's after an experience of 10 to 15 years, you reach at that stage. And even if you want to fly for, let's say, Emirates or something, is after 3 to 5 years of experience,
Correct.
Emirates doesn't hire freshers. So it was difficult to make him explain because he was already sold by this 10 lakh rupees a month.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what happens. So that's why guidance from the right people is necessary or very important.
Absolutely.
Because we tend to believe what we
Hmm.
want to be true.
Mhm.
Like the aspiring pilot who wanted to believe that it is true that the starting salary for pilots is 10 lakh rupees, wanted to believe that, and saying anything otherwise for that person to believe in that would be difficult,
Hmm.
right? So our goal here is to inform you about the details of aviation, the costs, the salaries, then your mindset when you do your pilot training and all of those things, and that we have been doing all this while. That is now 80 hours of this pilot podcast. Sometimes when we decide to write pointers for these podcasts, sometimes we feel we tell each we three sit before like any podcast, we would sit for a few hours and decide what is to be discussed and what are the pointers to be discussed. And we look at each other, we have discussed this already. Okay.
Yeah.
Because 80 hours is a pretty long period of time, and this is essentially the journey of becoming a pilot, right?
Hmm.
It's the same thing: how to become a pilot, the cost of pilot training, the pilot salaries, okay, then the medicals. All of the things are the same, but the point is that message from different point of views we try to convey so that you understand each one of those things better. So sometimes, yes, the topics are repetitive. Sometimes the topics are new. Sometimes there are new guests. Sometimes it's just three of us. The point is, we ourselves try to look at each of those points from different perspectives. Sometimes our perspective remains the same. Sometimes our perspective needs to be changed. Sometimes we are right. Sometimes we are not. But if we are not, we make sure to tell you that, okay, maybe we were not correct in that moment. And that's how we have evolved with 75 episodes of this. That said, essentially the mission remains the same: to help each one of you with the most truthful information that there is, okay, and most unbiased information that there is, okay. Yes, we would have a bias about CNTA for always. I'm very truthful about it because of the essentially the results of CNTA. So joining
Absolutely.
CNTA, if you are an aspiring pilot, is a good decision for you, is what we strongly believe and will continue to believe. And that is backed by the evidence that there is. Okay. At the bottom of all of that, we truly have your best interest in our hearts. That's all there is.
Absolutely. So here, as a part of CNTAA, I always strive that students get the best updated information that is required for you to not only clear the exam, but be the highest scorer or top rank in India. And that's my goal all the time. So whatever possible questions, whatever possible new concepts or different ways of asking questions, whatever is the source which is published newly, I always make sure that those things are updated. So when we started in 2021 with the online mode of CNTAA as a alongside the training center as well, so our goal is to have that hybrid model, and some people prefer online. So it is, so the questions are always solved online. So that is a, I always keep updating. So the course which you might have seen in 2021 and now in 2025,
Yeah.
there is a large difference in the two, and there is a lot of updates that have happened. I would say every 15 days every month. I keep updating on my off days, in my vacation, whenever I get time. I'm here in the studio and I strive that all the knowledge and the types of questions that are asked are updated in the course.
Yeah.
So it is the evidence that we have at CNTAA that repeatedly we are having students who top in India, not only in one attempt but every single attempt in sometimes navigation, sometimes MET, sometimes both, or regulation, etc.
Year
So
after year, attempt after attempt,
yes,
there are all India toppers from CNTA.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So
And
if-
that is as much as for the CNTA, it is also primarily for the student as well, because a trainer can guide the student. At the same time, we really take pride in all our students who are able to achieve that because it's their hard work, right?
absolutely. So my goal is to provide the best information available, but yes, it is you on student who has to utilize that resource and
Absolutely.
in the best interest of yours.
Absolutely. And
Yep.
whatever the gyan, if you would call it as, or the information that we talk about on this podcast is to prepare primarily your mindset for your pilot career, and you set your expectations right for your pilot career. Like Chintan said just now, that someone is setting up expectations of an aspiring pilot that their starting salary will be 10 lakh rupees. That is an overstatement, right? And that is not going to help, neither with respect to finances nor with respect to the motivation towards doing the pilot training. And once you finish, you realize this is a lot of work. Okay, so the message again, the truthful message that we try to instill in each one of the viewer of pilot podcast, whether you have done your 12th and starting to become a pilot, or you're done with your graduation, or maybe you're in a flight school somewhere and you're doing your flight training facing some difficulties. If you know that the path is going to have difficulties, you're more prepared for it and not not disappointed when you actually encounter difficulties,
Correct.
right?
Right.
If I knew this path is going to be long, and then I'm prepared to overcome those obstacles, right? So in one of the episodes we spoke about uninformed optimism, right?
Yeah.
Then the how do you feel throughout the uninformed optimism, then you encounter the problems associated with that field, and then it's informed pessimism. Pessimism meaning negative thinking, that this is shit. Okay. And then so the idea of this podcast is to get you through that uninformed optimism part to informed optimism part. Okay, because if you know the obstacles that you will be facing during this whole journey, the long maze of becoming a pilot and getting into the airline cockpit, now you're better prepared for it, right? So eventually when you get into the informed optimism, that I know it is difficult, but I know how to handle those obstacles and overcome those obstacles, and I'm optimistic about it. So when you get to that part, that is the path of confidence, and that confidence is backed by awareness and not naivety of misinformation or lack of information. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yes.
Was I able to convey what I was trying to say? Yeah. Yeah, then right, just yeah or no, then Nilay ko gaaliyan do.
So basically, like in today's world, if I would just generalize it, what we see on the social media is mostly the achievements, the
Right.
success,
Right.
but very few people show the actual journey, like you mentioned, obstacles. So what obstacles does a pilot faced during training. No one has ever addressed that issue,
Yeah.
right? But in our previous episodes, we have addressed those issues. Like most of the time, like when we were training in the US, like when you learn the technique to land a Cessna, okay, it's not that the first landing you'll do will be perfect. It will take 15, 20, 30 landings to know how the aircraft feels and the technique associated with it.
Absolutely.
And during that phase of 15 to 20 landings, when you are figuring out the technique to land, it will be a roller coaster. Some days your landing will be good and you will feel like confident. You'll be on the top of the world. And next day you go and the landing doesn't go as expected. Then
Yeah.
you'll feel the low. And then you'll be thinking, okay, am I doing the right thing? Or am I in the right career? Have I chosen the right field?
Yes.
But then eventually when you give it time, when you get some experience, you excel at landing. And then once you do your 100-hour solo, you become
Yeah.
pro. You are like, now give me the aircraft. I can go at any airport, land, and I'm confident with that
Correct.
to act as a PIC of Cessna or something.
Correct.
So
Absolutely.
that's the journey. But most of us, we just see that, okay, got CPL, TR, now first officer, now captain. But the grind, the journey which takes you to that position is challenging.
Correct. Correct. Absolutely. So, some students, when they go to flight school after clearing the papers,
Hmm.
they call after few months, when they are
Mhm.
at a solo stage or they are doing circuits
Hmm.
and landings. They
Or
message me.
sometimes instrument, sometimes
Yeah.
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 They are like,
Then each next
I'm
phase of
struggling
learning.
with this
Yeah.
and I have little difficulties. So how do I go about? Like, it's been some time that I'm learning this. So it is important to know the certain skills that are involved in that landing and
Mhm.
which you can ask instructors or you can ask us. So depending on the aircraft type, low wing or high wing,
Hmm.
depending on that, depending on the a lot of meteorological factors like strong winds, headwind or tailwind or crosswind, there are slight variations which you may have to adopt while doing that
Mhm.
particular landing. So that I just explain, okay, you can do this and then see how you're able to
Mhm.
perform. And then after a few days they're like, okay, it was these some tips were helpful and then
Mhm.
we were able to get our solo. So these struggles and these challenges are going to be there at every stage, be it initial flying stage or instrument flying or maybe night flying or type rating. So it is important to, as Nilay said, that to stay optimistic, stay confident and keep striving towards your goal despite of these challenges, because there are going to be some at every stage.
Yes, and if that student has a mentor at every stage of the flight, let's say, so openly students don't speak with everyone, right?
Correct.
Because they have this tendency to think about, okay, what will this student think
Mm.
about me?
Mhm.
I'm not doing good. And if I ask them for suggestion, that's generally the mindset when students go for training, and they feel free to communicate with us. So like,
Correct.
let's say like after clearing the DGCA exams, CNTAA students go for flight training. We provide them with the guidance for flight training, and we have done the training from US and you have done it from India, so we know both the countries, how do they train the pilots, what expectation do the flight school have from them. And then once they go for the flight training, we do also have a monthly progress tracker which tracks students like how they are performing, and then we have a call with them whenever required, or they reach
Correct.
out to us
Correct.
whenever they have any difficulty.
Yeah.
So if there is a point of contact with the students during their training whom they can speak or communicate freely, that is a great aid for their flight training.
Correct.
Okay,
correct.
because
True.
generally when you're outside India, you have no one apart from the circle you have there, like the group
Yeah.
which you're going for flight training. And whenever you're going for to a new country, you take time to settle in, to understand things, and when you have a
Correct.
support, continuous support from an experienced mentor, it helps you in amazing ways.
Absolutely.
Like it is a kind of cultural shock.
Hmm.
It is a social shock because away from the family, one, away from the country, second, or country or the hometown. If you are doing your pilot training in India itself, then the hometown, the language change,
Hmm.
right, and an environment of
Yes.
learning a skill. Yeah, it is a lot. It is definitely a lot for the mind to grasp, definitely. So that is about, it's not going to be easy, but it's gonna be worth it. That is the message that we have been trying to spread through this podcast by sharing different experiences, different stories, different overcoming stories. When we see a movie, if you indulge me a little bit in, there is a book called A Hero's Journey. Any movie that we
Mhm.
consider has a plot. Okay. Everything is going hunky dory. This is any story, any movie, anything. Okay. Then you decide to do something. In this case, pilot training. Everything is going good. Then in the mid part of any movie, there is a challenge faced. When you see movie and you have certain stress levels, okay, when we are viewing something, the stress levels will rise in the middle part of the movie. And in Hindi movies, there is Hindi or Bollywood or Tollywood movies, there is intermission there is a cliffhanger and intermission there, because now the challenge is faced. The hero is presented with the challenge, and here you are the hero. You are the hero of your journey, your pilot training journey. So those midpoints come, and then in movie there is like a 5-minute scene when the hero really works hard, does many things, and overcomes the struggle. Okay. And then in the end of the movie, the hero wins. Okay. The same applies. But in movie, it is just 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Or if a song goes by in a fast pace and the hero is shown to be working hard and is really dialed into his act or her act. And on the other side of the song or the background music, the hero turns out to be a different person altogether. Those 5 minutes for us as pilots are 5 years. Really, 5 years. Okay. 3 to 5 years, depending on the industry or anything. Those are 5 years. And on the 5 years, the person on the other side of those 5 years, you may not be able to even know the person 5 years ago that you were. There is so much change in that journey. Now Capt.Neha has lived 2006 to 2000, 19 years into
19
this.
years.
I and Chintan, we have lived 6 years?
6 years,
6
yeah.
years into this. It's difficult to even recognize the person that you were after you have done those. I'm not saying it will take you 5 years, okay? You may do it in 3, 4, but not less than that. Okay.
From the time you decide to become a pilot till the time you are an airline pilot.
Yeah.
This is the period
Yeah.
he's talking about.
And that is the hero's journey that each one of you, if you are an aspiring pilot, you will be living. And make sure that you are the hero of that story. Because you only become a hero when you complete the task, right? and when what makes movies so engaging, because in the meantime, mid-time, when the hero encounters an obstacle, you don't know whether he is going to make it through or not. So if you are living through that struggle right now, you don't know whether there is the light in the end of the tunnel or this or not. But you've got to believe that there is.
Yes, absolutely.
And with that hope, you've got to give your everything in order to make it your hero's journey. Yeah, that's
True.
makes
True.
sense.
Absolutely. You have to devote your time, your energy, and focus everything into achieving what you want to achieve at that
Yeah.
point. Because those are the years, even though if you think that, okay, if you're a cadet pilot, okay, journey is your run. That's not
No.
how it is. So, students who think that once you get through cadet pilot program, that is it, you have achieved everything. No, at every step there is an assessment which is reviewed by an airline. Then at every stage there is a check, whether it is flight check, whether it is ground exams, or it could be simulator exams or simulator checks. So those are reviewed in the actual aircraft. There will be training like supervised line flying, and you really have to perform there. The people or students who have not performed at these stages repeatedly, and if there are some unreasonable mistakes that have happened, then no, the airline or maybe the situation, it doesn't forgive you. So that's why you should take things very, very seriously if you are considering to be an airline pilot.
Yes, and this doesn't mean to scare you.
Yeah.
It's just simple, like do the right thing at the right time. We don't mean that you have to study continuously for 5 years. So let's say if there is a check or something and you think you need to study for 2-3 years, keep your phone aside, and then let's say your check is done, then use your phone, play PS5, do whatever you want to do,
Yeah.
go on a vacation.
Yeah.
So have a balance of everything, but most importantly, know what to do when. Okay, it's like let's say tomorrow you have a check and today you're going out or just playing around. So that's not the right way. So yeah, we have enjoyed a lot during our training,
Yeah.
and we have also like cleared the checks and everything, right?
Correct.
So it's like you have to find the balance, like
Right.
how
Right.
can you
Right.
like study for the exams as well when required, and then when you are off, you enjoy your off time.
Yeah, it's be directionally correct and then give time. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So when you are studying, think about studying.
Yeah.
Right? When you're
Dialed
not
in.
studying, when you're not studying, or let's say when you're playing cricket,
Yeah.
play cricket fully, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, but when you're back to studies, 100% studying.
Absolutely.
Simple.
Yes.
Do nothing
True.
half-ass.
True.
Yeah. Do nothing half-ass. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So when
So,
I'm doing flying, yes, fully focused on flying. Coming here, doing fully focused on CNTAA duties.
yeah.
When I'm in a gym, yes, I'm in a gym. Then rest of the things are
When
don't
Shivansh,
matter.
then fully Shivansh.
Yeah, when
right?
I'm doing mother duties, then yes, it's wholeheartedly.
Because
doing those
it doesn't
duties.
make sense to do two things at a time.
Correct,
like
correct.
Yeah.
So let's say if we are studying and we think, "Arey, today this India-Pakistan match is going on, let me watch it."
Mm.
And then you say, no, I have to study. So you are not focused on studying and you are neither watching the match. So you are
Yeah.
doing none of the two things. It's better to do
True.
one thing 100%.
As this was the 75th episode of Pilot Podcast, three of us, we sat down and jotted down some golden lines that we until so far think are like what we learned during this time. With time, maybe episode 100, there will be some additions to it, there will be some changes to it. Maybe episode 200, it will be even more concise, maybe even different, right? But we thought it would be great sharing those lines with you, and we hope that you'll get some value out of it, and it will be acting as your inner voice in your ears when you experience a fork in the decisions that you want to make. If it is your guiding voice, that is what we want it to be, and we'd be very glad if it helps in any part of your pilot career and your journey, right? So let's go over those 10 points.
Yes.
10 golden lines is what we have named those.
So, in my opinion, knowledge, skills, and attitude are of paramount importance to be a great pilot. I would say knowledge, definitely for sure. If you know things, then you are able to fly the aircraft safely, you are able to fly the aircraft efficiently, and you are within the boundaries of safety all the time. So, here, if we talk about the skills, skills are something which are very, very important in order to fly the aircraft, literally fly the aircraft. So, right from the time when
Motor
you fly
skills.
the smaller aircraft, how do you do the scan, then how do you do in the larger aircraft, it's basically flight either by automation, management by automation, or by manual handling. So it is both. So these skills need to be developed, and they need to be backed by knowledge. If you know certain things, then only you'll be able to fly in a certain way. Then when we talk about the attitude, it is very, very important that you are very disciplined in the flight. Whenever you go for a flight, be prepared for the flight in terms of the weather, NOTAMs, or those things are also very important, because if in case you're not prepared, you don't show up on time, or if you're not prepared, then you may not be knowing certain things which may affect your flight, like for example certain closures, certain those things are very, very important. Apart from that, if you are very casual about the flight, then that is also not acceptable, because if some people, if they take things very, very casually, nowadays the rules are getting very stringent with respect to, let's say, for example, breath analyzer test. Now those rules are getting very stringent in the airline as well as by the DGCA. So earlier, the third attempt of BA positive used to be 5 years of license suspension. Now it is changed to, on the third attempt of BA positive, your license is cancelled. So that is the rule change by DGCA. Plus by airline, it is even the first attempt of BA positive with more than 0.02%, which is very, very less amount. And with that, even if it is positive, there is direct termination. So it is very important that you take the flight and you take this profession seriously, and you go ahead with full preparation, and with that's what I would think would make a great pilot.
One little intricacy that I would, as you mentioned, discipline, right?
Yeah.
Intricacy that I would like to emphasize on. Discipline usually to teenagers, okay? Even when I was a teenager, sounds like a word that is little bit scary. Okay? That discipline, meaning being very particular about things the way it should be done and must be done. And see now what passion I'm talking about, these words. Must be done, should be done, right? These are pretty strong words. Should, must, like being particular. The point is, if we train ourselves to be disciplined, we naturally tend to do those things that way. If I train myself to be punctual, then it is not a task for me to be punctual anymore. If I am not on the habit of drinking alcohol. Habit. I don't drink alcohol. That is apart from that. It's been 5 years I stopped drinking alcohol. But habit. Let's talk about habit. Then it is not difficult for me to not drink alcohol when it is not supposed to be. So discipline is your protector, is my protector against the things that I'm against, or for the things that I'm supposed to do in the supposed manner. Right. I'll give you an example of discipline. In certain military, there is a wing, okay, that is to be worn 1/2 inch above the pocket square, in the pocket. And it has to be exactly 1/2 inch. How does it matter whether it is 1 inch, 2 inch, or 1/2 inch? What difference is it gonna make? The difference is being specific. There is no let go or it's okay kind of attitude. It's okay to be a little bit more. It's okay to be a little bit less. No, 1/2 inch meaning 1/2 inch. 1 hour prior reporting meaning 1 hour prior reporting. You can be 5 minutes earlier, but 1 hour meaning 1 hour. And you do it 100 times. Do you really think that on the 101st day it is gonna be difficult for you to show up on 1 hour prior? No. Now you have built the discipline. Now discipline is your defense. Discipline is working for you instead of working against you. So nothing to be scared of the word discipline in my view. It's just a lot of work to develop it, but once you do, it's one of your best friends that there is, right?
You're right.
Yeah, one thing that is there in this, that is knowledge, skills, and attitude. But what also is there is experience,
Yes, of course. Experience builds with time,
right?
and that would definitely help to, impart that whatever experiences you've gained over years. Like, for example, if I am now flying as a captain, now almost in this October, I would be completing 6 years as a captain, and
Nice.
about almost in coming few months would be completing 10 years as an airline pilot. So experience over these years help to impart that, things that you have picked up from various instances, to share that with your colleagues, to impart certain kind of I would say advices, as well as tricks to the first officers who have recently started flying. And that is something which is which I really utilize to gain a lot of knowledge to all the
Yeah.
students, and that is, of course, adds up the value, no doubt about it.
Experience of what I think with very little experience that I have, I'd say, is experiences help form patterns, and patterns of practices that you have been performing. Little experience in aviation, I mean. I have good experience of life, I would say, and I'm proud of it. But okay, experience in aviation. Now, if you have followed good practices throughout this experience, again, the experience will work for you. Otherwise, it can work against you. So, again, the discipline that there is. And one thing that we also discussed about earlier was, for experience to be formed, we've got to give time. There is no replacement for that experience. That is what it is.
Correct.
Yeah. Chintan, you'll take the next one.
Yeah. So the next golden lines of wisdom is, treat weather as God, never go against it. Because when you go against it, weather always wins. And from my experience as well, as we know currently, there's something called a cyclone Sakti, which is developing towards the west of the coastline of India. So day before yesterday, I was flying to Dubai, and we fly on the same route where the cyclone Sakti is expected to build up in the next few days. So while flying over that region, we were just discussing that thing because there was a whole build up, and we were just flying. We were just hitting the tops of the clouds where it was about to form, and we could see continuous wind variation in that region in the clockwise direction in circular motion. So yeah, just then we started discussing about the weather, okay, what it will happen, when it will start to develop, and all of those things. And we avoided that thing. Even it was just forming stage, we avoided
Right.
that weather
Right.
by good 30-40 miles.
Right.
Because the captain, with his experience, as we were discussing experience, he said, never take any chances with this kind of weather. So whenever you see any indication that the winds are varying, this is happening, that, just take deviation, weather deviation. So that's what is meant by this
Correct.
golden rides.
Correct.
Absolutely. Like I remember my instrument instructor during my flight training. Now though, we do take weather deviations like even hundreds of miles if
Yeah.
required, as long as we have fuel.
Fuel.
Primary goal, passenger comfort, safety, all of those things.
Hmm.
Back in the time, it was what? We are 50, 70 hours into our flying experience, solo flying experience. And now that is the time when there is a human behavioral phenomena called Dunning-Kruger effect. Dunning-Kruger effect is, if I'm not mistaken, you can fact check this, is being ahead of ourselves. When we acquire a new skill, we think that we are really good at it. Like the experience is low, but you know how to do it. So like say 50, 70 hours. And that is the time during flight training when the highest number of accidents or incidents happen. So I had this solo cross country, Sanford to Stuart.
Mm-hmm.
And Stuart was one of my favorite places to go. Now I'm checking the weather radar. Okay, weather is approaching from the south. Okay, and I'm in Stuart. IFR flight, no problem with doing IFR and everything is good. So I'm like, okay, this weather has moved this much in this much time, meaning it's moving at this much. My ground speed from Stuart to Sanford will be this much. So I can outrun this weather, and before this weather gets here, I can reach gets to.
Yeah.
So I can weather is chasing me kind of. So I'm like Dunning-Kruger effect, right? I know how to do this. But one little voice told me that, okay, just to be sure, speak with the flight school and speak with the instructor. Okay. And I'm calculating my cruise speeds at the maximum that Cessna can. Bichara can fly 134, 135. Okay. And all the winds and everything is calculated that my flight time will be this before the TAF shows this and the weather is moving like this. But I was like, okay, let's humble ourselves a little bit and call the instructor. He goes like, here's the thing. And remember this for the rest of your life. Never try to outclimb, outrun weather. And if you try to race the weather, the weather will always win. And I took that advice. I really took it to the heart. And I sat into the aircraft, and now the whole airport is thunderstorms. Like crazy thunderstorms and literally Florida thunderstorms are like you can visually see the cyclones forming thunderstorms. And I was like, I'm glad that I didn't take that flight. So yeah, as Chintan said, weather is God. Never try to race it. If you do, it will win.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, Rudy Benders. Rudy Benders was my instructor for this, and I just called him, and this was his dialogue, and so we were good friends, and he goes like, "Yeah, you can try to send it, but it's not gonna work." Yeah. Okay, so to conclude it, what did I do? I listened to my instructor and be aware of the Dunning-Kruger effect. And I waited it out. The storm didn't go for a good 4 hours. I waited in the FBO, and after 4 hours, then I departed and came to the flight school. That is what it was. So, yeah, weather wins. Don't do it if you think. If you are in a doubt, don't do it. Yep. Okay. Yeah, so the next one is, why do you become a pilot? To fly the airplane. There's I think Chinese proverb says that, why do you climb a mountain? To climb a mountain. Sounds stupid, right? But the point is, become one for the right reasons. Become a pilot for the right reasons. Maybe there are n number of reasons that are the external validation reasons, such as good layover, the uniform, the pride of the uniform, the salaries. These are all external motivators. But as we speak, those things are perishable. When we don't have those seem to be very much desired. But when we do have those for long enough, the desire for those reduces with time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Correct.
Like all those 5-star hotel layovers, the Bali layover, the Tbilisi layover, and all of those things. The Dubai layover, and then Singapore, Bangkok, Jakarta, then Phuket, and then with the clubbing of Jeddah, Dammam. क्या हंस क्या रहे हो? मैं तो वही करता हूँ. I only do those Okay, those all sound very desirable in the beginning. Long enough time passes, and it becomes the new normal. And then the desire for that is perishable. Perishable meaning it
Goes away.
goes away.
Yeah.
But in that time, we still need to have something that stands by us for us to be continuing to do the thing. And that is the thing itself. The internal reasons. How do we want to spend our time in our life? Steve Jobs said this, that 80% of our conscious life, wakeful life, excluding the sleeping time, is going to be spent at work. Now we might as well enjoy it, right? And that will do when flying, when you're a pilot. So this line was inspired from the movie F1. Why do you become F1 driver? I didn't like the movie, to be honest, but I liked this dialogue a lot. Why do you become an F1 driver? To drive the fucking car, is what Brad Pitt says. And it hit me. It really struck good. It's like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's way more philosophical than just the dialogue. So why do you become a pilot? To fly the fucking airplane, right? Because if your goal is to fly, you'll never start cribbing about flying. Because that's what you started to do it all for. That's the goal. not anything else, not the layovers, not the uniform, not anything else, but the act itself. Why do you climb a mountain? To climb a mountain. Makes sense?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, next.
Yeah. Next, be quick, don't hurry. So here in the aircraft, we have plenty of things to be done. But if you rush, you will end up missing out the steps which may be vital and important for the flight. So it is important to know that there is a human limitation that we cannot do multiple things at a given time or at a given moment.
At exact
Same
Yeah.
second or exact same moment.
Yeah.
So that is a human limitation. Knowing this limitation, you should be doing one thing, then next thing, then third thing, then fourth thing, sequentially without wasting time in between the two things. So if it is said that, okay, pilots need to multitask, multitasking is not at a given instance, but doing multiple things one after the other without wasting any time in between that. So it is important that you prioritize what needs to be done first and then do the next, because you have lot of things. Now if you go to the cockpit, like initially, when the transition from first officer to captain, then initially as a new captain you think, oh my god, everybody comes and then they need an answer and sign from a captain. Like lot of people, there are 3-4 departments, they come and stand, and the captain has to answer engineer, then has to accept the aircraft, as well as at the same time accept the loading of the aircraft, at the same time brief the cabin crew. Obviously everything needs to be done at the same time, check the and make sure that all the flight preparation and the aircraft is ready for the departure, check that the certain clearances from the ATC are also taken. So all these things need to be done, but it needs to be prioritized, done in a sequence, and that is workload management, which needs to be done effectively, efficiently, without missing out any steps. So that's what is said, that be quick but don't be in a hurry. That's what it is. Very, very important as a pilot.
Yes, and this applies very well during the initial stages of training,
Correct.
because we think that we are too slow, and the muscle memory or hands when we are flying a new aircraft, transitioning from a Cessna to a 320. So in Cessna we are very fluent, right, with the flows and everything, but when we start to fly the Airbus, we take a while to think and like what has to be done when, and in that moment if we hurry, we might miss out something, and to figure out what we have missed will take even more time. So it's better to be quick than to hurry.
Correct. Absolutely.
Right. Moving on to the next golden line. Good night's sleep is a privilege. Don't overlook it. So whenever we go for a flight, we have to get certain amount of rest. And that is the most important thing for our flight. We do not have a night sleep every day. Sometimes we do sleep during the day. Sometimes we sleep during the night. Sometimes we sleep when everyone is starting to work. So we have to manage our schedule accordingly, the sleeping schedule accordingly, so that we are well rested for the flight.
Correct.
And as a pilot, our sleep timings vary every day. It's not that we get to like some or the other week when we have all the early morning flights, we tend to sleep at the same time and wake up at the same time. But usually that's not the case.
Correct.
So sleep is very important. Yes, when we are teenagers, we do overlook it. We are like, okay, I can stay awake the whole night and tomorrow morning
Correct.
I can fly. But with time, that doesn't work.
Correct.
And that should not be done as well.
Absolutely. Can't agree more, because this is something which is, when you are deprived of it, or when you cannot get that night sleep, that's when you actually realize the importance of it. And when at times you want to sleep but you have to get ready, and that is when you really know the importance of it. And especially initially in early 20s, you definitely will not be getting and knowing the importance. But now, me being in mid 30s, in later 30s, that's when you will definitely know it would start affecting you in your performance. It can be affected because if you are deprived of night sleep, then definitely it can trigger, a lot of issues with respect to your functions in the daytime.
Absolutely. So, if there is the most important reason for someone to not become a pilot, to be honest, then it will be this on number one, because
Yeah.
pilots do not have the privilege of being able to sleep at night.
Correct.
No other significant reasons not to become a pilot. Everything is great. That's why we became one. At the same time, we have worked in other professions before, and that privilege is the only thing that pilots do miss, and pilots do not have.
Correct.
What we are is we are shift workers, and we don't have the privilege to be able to go to bed at exact same time every single day. And as Capt.Neha rightly said, we are very naive in our younger years, and we overestimate the limitations of our body in that age. Let's say 18, 16, 18, 20, 24. When 30s hit, we start to understand that the body that we are given with is the one that we have to live through all the time until we call it lights out. And every time we choose to do something else over sleep, we are taking away from our cognitive abilities. And in cockpit, if the highest important tool, if there is anything, the highest important tool that there is, it may not be engines, it may not be anything else, but it is two pilots' brains. And those need to be functioning correctly all the time. So take care of your cognitive ability as we try to do.
Correct.
And that is about this point. Okay, this one is learn to enjoy the tough times as much as the good times. Tough times build character and are often smiled upon in the hindsight. Every difficulty that you face during your flight training, during your DGCA exams, during your line training, during your simulator training, every difficulty, every learning curve that you have faced, there will be a time in future that you will smile upon those, because those were the times when you learned, when you actually learned through it, when you did something difficult and overcame it. Those were the times when you proved yourself to be the hero in your hero's journey. So tough times, they come and go. Good times, they also come and go. These are like tides and waves, and they'll keep on coming and going. Smile through it all. Enjoy through it all. Make the most out of it.
The next one, direction or trajectory is more important than how fast you can go. Definitely, I agree with this because when I started off my pilot training career back in 2006 after my 12th, completed my CPL in 2008. So that time, this is like just in short, I would like to tell the story because that very much relates to this. So after that, I applied in Jet Airways. The global recession hit at the same time, and there were absolutely no jobs in aviation market back then in 2008. But I wanted to continue in this profession itself. So I continued with, I started teaching in the flight school, became a ground instructor there. Their students loved the way I trained them, and they were like, if you could train us for all the subjects. Then I started with CNTAA. So I wanted to stay in this profession itself, and I wanted to pursue this goal itself, even though the scenario was not so great. And thereafter, 2011, Kingfisher shut down. All those pilots came to one of the, biggest airline in India. Thereafter, also, the scenario was not so great till 2014, and then the pilot vacancies were out for all the applicants all over India. That's when I decided, okay, this is a great opportunity, so I have to make the most of it. So I put my heart and soul into it and got through that particular vacancy. So yes, it took time because of the scenario in aviation, but I knew what I had to do. So I continued and pursued the trajectory till the point where I wanted to be. So that's how, and then the journey started as an airline pilot.
Yeah.
So it took time. Pilots who started their career maybe in 2014-15, they got their jobs in 2018. Within maybe 3 months or 6 months, they got an airline job. So that time, definitely the market scenario was good. They got through, but thereafter, in a year, COVID hit. So their progression was again slow a bit. And so that is okay. So as long as you are in a correct trajectory and correct direction, it's okay that if it, gets little slow. So trajectory is more important than the pace or the how fast you can go.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
And I remember one example. I don't know who told me. So let's say if you're flying from Mumbai to New York, and there is a certain track which you need to follow, and if you are even off by 1 degree, you end up landing or reaching in another city. So that's how important direction is in the long
Correct.
run.
Correct.
Yeah, it's. I remember this.
Yeah.
This is from some book. I don't recollect the book's name, but the point is the example was if you start from Miami to LAX, the Los Angeles, and if you are just off course by 10 degrees, you'll end up landing in Washington State and not
Okay.
in LAX. And Washington State in the US is on the top left corner, and
West.
top left west northwest corner, and LAX is in the southwest corner. So just a deflection of 10 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, direction is.
Yeah, in
So-
literal sense also.
Yeah.
In literal sense also.
Yes.
And one point I'd like to add to what Capt.Neha said is comparing your story with other story is a fool's errand. Never compare your story. You have lived a different life. Other person has lived a different life. You do your best. If your best isn't enough, then do even more. But comparing with someone else is only a path to misery, to be honest. That's how I feel. Your choice if you want to be something that is.
Correct.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next golden line is always stay ahead of the aircraft. And this golden line, you will definitely hear it when you start your flight training, because it's very important to know what is coming next when you're flying an aircraft. So anticipating the instances or anticipating the procedures which has to be done before time will keep you ahead of the aircraft. So in case of emergency, this is very handy.
Absolutely. Definitely. Staying ahead of the aircraft is flying at a certain speed and your mind is flying at a certain speed. As long as your mind is keeping actually ahead of the aircraft and not just keeping up with the aircraft, then you are in control. The pilots are in control. The captain is in control. That's how things work.
Absolutely, because these commercial aircraft, they fly at 450 to 500 knots of ground speed or even more. So at that speed, which is approximately corresponding to about 900 kilometers per hour, so it is important that you know what's coming next, otherwise you will be behind the aircraft. So that is important. What next, what next, what next? That's what question you have to keep asking yourself when you start off flying these commercial jets. Later on, when you are used to it, you've flown certain hundreds or thousands of hours, then it's a part of your habit.
Yeah.
No.
Actually, matter of the fact, we still have 2 points, but I have a flight to go for. So we'll have to be quick with it. So we'll be quick and not hurry. Okay. yeah. yeah.
Yep.
Cooperation over competition. That is the next point. Cooperation over competition. Aviation is about teamwork. You're always a team. No one person can fly these commercial jets. There is a support of ground team. There is a support of your engineering team. There is a support of the cabin crew. There is a support of your colleagues. So basically, if you're a captain, the first officer, obviously a first officer needs a support of a captain. And in that coordination, in that synchronization, with that teamwork, the whole operation of the flight is conducted. No one person can, including the person who cleans the aircraft all the way to the CEO. Each one of these members have certain role, and with cooperation only the successful flight could be conducted. So how do we impart this skill? That is, in the smallest example, when in doubt, help a friend. That builds that attitude of cooperating with people. Always be helpful. This world, not everybody is there to compete with you. It's not a race to win. It's a journey to live. It's a life to live. The race is to what? To where? Nowhere. It's never a race. So, yeah, cooperate. And nobody's losing on anything by helping someone else.
Correct.
It's not a win or lose situation. It's not a binary game with only two outcomes. It's a game to be lived.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we are on the last golden line, the 10th golden line. So on a good day, you're not as good as you think you are. And on a bad day, you're not as bad as you think you are. So whenever the situation is bad, or let's say something is not going your way, we generally feel underconfident, we doubt ourselves, and we think that this is not something which I should be doing, or I'm not competent enough, because just you're having a bad day, so that's all the emotions which is going on in your mind. And you think that if you compare it with someone else, you think, okay, that guy's doing so good and I'm just stuck here. And the same thing, the opposite thing happens when you, let's say, when you clear your check, you think, okay, I'm on the top of the world. You have confident, you can consider it overconfident as well. You think I can do this, that. So whenever you have victories, okay, tell yourself that, okay, this is a milestone which I've achieved. Yes, I'm happy about it, but there's still a longer way to go. So in aviation, everyone is continuously learning, because we do get timely updates about the procedures, about the aircraft, the systems, and all of those things. And then let's say something is not going our way. So let's say the check ride didn't go well. We didn't perform well in the check ride. So tell yourself that, okay, that particular moment wasn't good for me, but this is something I'll work upon, and make a note of it. Consider guidance if that helps you, and start flying.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We discussed about this line because it keeps our equilibrium. It doesn't let us feel way too high than we should when we win, and it doesn't let us make us feel way too low than we should when we lose. So equilibrium is the place to be.
Yeah.
Correct.
And that's it for this podcast, guys.
Yes.
Yes, and thank you for your support. Without your support, we would have been reached to the 75th episode. So thank you for the lovely comments which you guys time and again comment on these podcasts. And when we read those comments, like there was one comment which I remember, like this guy, he mentioned, okay, thank you for your podcast. So we had made one podcast which was related to the airline interviews and stuff. So he mentioned, like, I have just watched your podcast, I got so much insight and I was able to clear that interview. So it is adding value to the aspiring pilots, and
Correct.
by reading the comments, we get motivation to make more of this podcast. So thank you for showing your love to this podcast, and we'll continue helping each and every aspiring pilot. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you very much for showing up. And if you have any queries, feel free to reach out to us. We'll soon come up with the Q&A session in which you can, on hotline, you can send your questions and we would be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Absolutely. Again, as we say, we are biased towards CNTA. So if you are an aspiring pilot, sign up for CNTAA online. If you are looking for offline training, you can contact Franklin from CNTA, from Team CNTA on 9930-300-426. If you are eligible and if you meet the eligibility criteria, we'd love to have you on board CNTA for your DGCA exams preparation.
Absolutely.
CNTA has very, very, very good results in the DGCA exams. You can check the results on the Google, or you can check the results on Instagram page of CNTAA online. And once again, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
very much.